There comes a time when your heart gets tired of running after people who only walk away faster. You keep giving, explaining, waiting, forgiving, understanding, and hoping, but deep inside you know the truth. The more you chase them, the more you lose yourself. You lose your peace. You lose your confidence. You lose your focus. You lose the calm version of you that existed before their mixed signals became your daily pain. This audiobook is for the person who is done begging for basic love, done chasing replies, done proving loyalty to people who treat loyalty like weakness, and done giving full energy to half-present people. Detach slowly, win quietly is not about becoming heartless. It is about becoming whole again. It is about learning how to step back without anger, heal without noise, and rebuild your power without needing anyone to clap for your growth. Before this audiobook begins, ask yourself one honest question. How long will you keep breaking your own heart just to keep someone close who never truly protects your peace? If this message touches something inside you, stay with me until the end, because every chapter will help you detach slowly, choose yourself quietly, and win without begging anyone to notice. Chapter 1. Stop chasing what keeps running away. The first lesson of quiet power begins with a painful truth that many people avoid for years. If something keeps running away from your love, your loyalty, your patience, and your effort, then chasing it harder will not make it stay with respect. It may keep the person close for a while. It may keep the connection alive on the surface. It may give you small moments of hope when they reply, return, smile, apologize, or act like they care again. But deep inside you will still feel tired because you will know that the relationship is standing because you are carrying most of its weight. Chasing is not always loud. Sometimes chasing looks like checking your phone again and again even though you promised yourself you would not wait for their message. Sometimes chasing looks like reading old conversations to find proof that they once cared. Sometimes chasing looks like blaming yourself for someone else's distance, changing your tone so they do not leave, hiding your hurt so they do not feel pressured, and accepting less effort because a small part of you is afraid that if you ask for more, they will disappear completely. This is how people lose themselves slowly, not in one big moment, but in 1,000 small moments where they choose someone else's comfort over their own self-respect. You must understand this clearly. Real love does not require you to beg for basic presence. Real respect does not make you perform for attention. Real connection does not leave you constantly confused, anxious, and emotionally hungry. When someone values you, you can feel it in their consistency, not only in their words. You can feel it in how they show up when life is not convenient. You can feel it in the way they protect your peace instead of using your softness as a place to hide their carelessness. A person who truly wants to be in your life may have busy days, difficult seasons, and private battles, but they will not make you feel foolish for caring. The problem with chasing is that it slowly teaches your mind to worship uncertainty. You begin to feel alive only when they give you attention, and you begin to feel worthless when they pull away. Their silence becomes a storm inside your chest. Their reply becomes medicine. Their mood becomes your weather. Their distance becomes your punishment. And before you realize it, you are no longer living from your own center. You are living around another person's behavior, trying to predict them, please them, keep them, and win back the version of them that made you feel special in the beginning. But sometimes the beginning was not the truth. Sometimes the beginning was effort before comfort. Sometimes the beginning was attraction before responsibility. Sometimes the beginning was a person giving you just enough warmth to open your heart, then giving you just enough distance to make you chase the warmth again. And when you keep chasing that first version of them, you become trapped in a memory while reality keeps hurting you. You are not holding on to what they are giving you now. You are holding on to what you hoped they could become. Detach slowly means you stop arguing with reality. You stop saying, maybe if I love them harder, they will understand. You stop saying, maybe if I stay patient longer, they will change. You stop saying, maybe if I become less emotional, less demanding, less honest about my pain, they will finally choose me properly. No, The right people do not need you to erase yourself to keep them. The right people do not need you to suffer silently so they can feel comfortable. The right people do not make you compete with their indifference. The moment you stop chasing, your heart may panic because it is used to reaching for what hurts it. You may feel the urge to message them, explain yourself again, ask what happened, ask why they changed, ask if they still care, ask if you did something wrong. That urge does not mean you should go back. It means your emotional habit is being broken. Healing often feels uncomfortable at first because peace is unfamiliar when chaos has become normal. Silence feels empty when you are used to begging for attention. Distance feels scary when you are used to measuring your value through someone else's response. But if you can survive that first wave of discomfort, something powerful begins to happen. Your mind becomes quieter. Your body stops waiting for emotional alarms. Your soul begins to breathe again. You start noticing how much energy you were spending on someone who gave you uncertainty in return. You start seeing how many dreams, routines, friendships, opportunities, and peaceful moments you abandoned because you were emotionally stuck in one person's hands. You begin to realize that the emptiness you feared was not emptiness at all. It was space. Space for your self-respect to return. Space for your confidence to rebuild. Space for your real life to come back. Stopping the chase does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop losing yourself in the name of love. It means you stop giving unlimited access to people who treat your heart like an option. It means you stop running after someone who only feels powerful when you are behind them. You can care and still step back. You can miss them and still choose peace. You can remember the good moments and still admit the pattern was hurting you. Maturity is not pretending you never cared. Maturity is caring deeply without handing someone permission to keep breaking you. The quiet winner understands that not every person who leaves your life is a loss. Some departures are painful blessings. Some silences are answers. Some distances are protection. Some endings are not punishments but invitations to return to yourself. When someone repeatedly makes you feel unwanted, unseen, unheard, and emotionally unsafe, life is not asking you to chase harder. Life is asking you to wake up. So today, make a quiet promise to yourself. You will stop chasing what keeps running away. You will stop turning someone's inconsistency into a challenge to prove your worth. You will stop confusing anxiety with love and attachment with destiny. You will stop calling it loyalty when it is actually self-abandonment. You will stop standing outside doors that only open when the person inside wants your attention, your warmth, your forgiveness, or your energy. From this moment, your power begins in one simple decision. You will no longer run after people who make you feel difficult to choose. If they walk away, let them walk. If they go silent, let the silence teach you. If they take your presence for granted, give them the gift of your absence. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with a loud announcement. Quietly, calmly, with dignity. Because the person who stops chasing does not lose power. The person who stops chasing finally gets it back. Chapter 2. Pull your energy back in silence. The second lesson of quiet power is learning how to pull your energy back without making noise, without sending one last emotional message, without begging someone to finally understand your pain, and without turning your healing into a public announcement. Many people think strength looks like confrontation, but sometimes the strongest version of you is the one that stops explaining to people who already know what they did. Sometimes your most powerful answer is not a paragraph, it is not a fight, it is not a final speech. It is the calm decision to stop giving your full heart to a place where your heart was never fully protected. When you have been chasing people for too long, your energy becomes scattered everywhere except inside yourself. Your thoughts are with them, your peace is with them, your attention is with them, your mood is waiting for them, your confidence rises and falls according to how they treat you that day. If they reply warmly, you feel alive again. If they become distant, your mind starts searching for reasons. If they ignore you, your whole body feels heavy. If they return after hurting you, You feel relieved instead of asking why you were made to suffer in the first place. This is how emotional dependence quietly grows. It does not arrive as a warning. It arrives disguised as love, care, loyalty, patience, and hope. But there is a difference between loving someone and abandoning yourself for someone. Love gives, but it does not erase your dignity. Love waits sometimes, but it does not beg forever. Love understands difficulty, but it does not keep excusing disrespect. When your energy is always moving toward someone who does not move toward you with the same honesty, you slowly become empty. You start pouring from a cup that is already dry. You smile while feeling drained. You forgive while feeling unseen. You keep showing up while a quiet voice inside you keeps asking, when will someone show up for me like this? Pulling your energy back begins with accepting that not everyone deserves immediate access to you. Not everyone deserves your fast replies, your long explanations, your emotional availability, your endless forgiveness, your soft heart, your late-night thoughts, your loyalty, or your full presence. Access to you should be connected to respect. If someone repeatedly treats your presence like something ordinary, then your absence becomes the lesson they were never willing to learn through your words. This does not mean you become rude. It does not mean you become cruel. It does not mean you play games to make someone jealous or worried. Quiet detachment is not manipulation. Quiet detachment is self-rescue. It is when you stop sending your energy into a connection that keeps returning pain. It is when you stop being the first to fix everything. It is when you stop carrying conversations that would die without your effort. It is when you stop pretending you are not hurt just to keep a person comfortable. It is when you finally understand that peace is not built by forcing people to treat you right, but by removing your heart from places where it is treated carelessly. At first, pulling back will feel strange because your heart is used to reaching outward. You may wake up and want to check if they messaged you. You may hear something and want to tell them first. You may feel sad and want to run back to the same person who caused the sadness. You may feel lonely and start missing the small pieces of attention they used to give you, even if those pieces were not enough to build a healthy connection. Do not judge yourself for this. Attachment does not disappear in one day. A heart that loved deeply does not become free instantly. Detachment is not a switch. It is a practice. It is a daily decision to choose yourself, even when your emotions are still trying to choose the old pain. This is why the title says, Detach Slowly. You do not have to become a new person overnight. You do not have to wake up tomorrow and feel nothing. You do not have to pretend you are strong every second. You only need to begin taking small pieces of yourself back. Today, you do not send the extra message. Tomorrow, you stop checking their status. The next day, you stop reading old conversations. Then you stop waiting for their name to appear on your screen. Then you stop building your entire mood around their behavior. Slowly, your energy returns. Slowly, your mind becomes yours again. Slowly, your heart learns that it can survive without chasing the person it once believed it could not lose. One of the hardest parts of pulling back is resisting the need to explain why you are changing. When people are used to unlimited access to you, your boundaries will feel like disrespect to them. They may ask why you are different. They may say you changed. They may act confused, even though they watched themselves hurt you. They may make you feel guilty for becoming less available. But remember this, people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will not always celebrate your healing. They liked the version of you that answered quickly, forgave easily, returned silently, accepted little, and kept giving even while breaking. The version of you that chooses peace may feel inconvenient to them, but it is necessary for you. Do not explain your healing to people who want you broken, because broken you was easier to control. Do not keep defending your silence to someone who never respected your voice. Do not keep telling them, "You hurt me," when their actions already proved they heard you and still continued. There comes a point where repeating your pain becomes another form of chasing. You are still trying to be understood by someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. You are still hoping your words will awaken a heart that was comfortable sleeping while you were suffering. Sometimes the most healing sentence is the one you never send. Pull your energy back from the phone. Pull it back from waiting. Pull it back from overthinking. Pull it back from checking who they are following, what they are posting, who they are talking to, and whether they look happy without you. Pull your energy back from imaginary conversations where you finally say everything perfectly and they finally understand everything completely. Pull your energy back from trying to win a place in the heart of someone who made you feel replaceable. Every time you refuse to feed the obsession, you are feeding your freedom. Your energy is sacred because it becomes your life. Where your energy goes, your future follows. If all your energy goes into someone who keeps confusing you, your future becomes confusion. If your energy goes into waiting, your life becomes delay. If your energy goes into chasing, your self-respect becomes weak. But when your energy returns to you, everything begins to change. You start sleeping better. You start thinking clearer. You start noticing your goals again. You start remembering the people who love you without making you beg. You start enjoying simple moments without needing one person's attention to make them complete. There is a deep peace that comes when you stop trying to be chosen by people who only choose you when they are bored, lonely, guilty, or in need of comfort. You begin to understand that attention is not the same as love. A reply is not the same as respect. A return is not the same as commitment. Missing you is not the same as valuing you. Some people miss your energy, not your soul. They miss your kindness, your patience, your forgiveness, your warmth, your availability, and the way you made them feel important. But missing what you gave them does not mean they are ready to love you properly. That is why you must become wise enough to recognize the difference between someone who misses you and someone who is willing to change for you. A person can miss you and still repeat the same behavior. A person can cry for your presence and still fail to protect your heart. A person can come back because your absence feels uncomfortable, but still not be ready to give you the consistency you deserve. If they return, do not listen only to their words. Watch their pattern. Watch their effort. Watch whether they respect the boundaries that your pain taught you to build. Quiet detachment gives you the space to see clearly. When you are chasing, you cannot observe. When you are desperate, you cannot judge wisely. When you are emotionally hungry, even crumbs feel like a meal. But when you step back, the picture becomes clearer. You begin to see who only loved your availability. You begin to see who respected you only when you were useful. You begin to see who was comfortable receiving from you, but uncomfortable giving back. Distance reveals what attachment hides, and when you start seeing clearly, do not run back into blindness just because clarity hurts. Sometimes truth feels painful because it destroys the fantasy you were using to survive. You may realize they were not confused, they were choosing what was convenient. You may realize they were not too busy, they were selective with their effort. You may realize they did not lose you suddenly, they lost you slowly every time they made you feel alone while you were giving them your best. That realization may hurt, but it will also free you because once you see the truth, you no longer need to keep negotiating with illusions. Pulling your energy back in silence also means you stop giving emotional reactions to people who feed on your reaction. Some people do not want peace, they want control. They provoke you, disappear, return, act cold, act warm, create confusion, and then watch how much power they still have over you. Every time you react with panic, anger, begging, or desperation, they feel confirmed that they still have access to your nervous system. But when you become calm, when you stop reacting, when you stop giving them the emotional performance they expect, something shifts. You are no longer easy to control. Your silence must not be empty bitterness. It must be full of self-respect. There is a difference between silent punishment and silent healing. Silent punishment is when you stop speaking only to make someone chase you. Silent healing is when you stop speaking because your spirit needs rest. Silent punishment is still centered on them. Silent healing is centered on you. You are not trying to hurt them with your distance. You are trying to protect yourself with your discipline. That difference matters because real detachment is not about making them suffer. It is about making yourself free. Use your silence to rebuild your inner world. Use the time you once spent waiting to strengthen your life. Use the energy you once spent overthinking to create something meaningful. Use the love you once poured into someone who did not value it to finally care for yourself. Go back to your routine. Go back to your goals. Go back to your health. Go back to your prayer, meditation, learning, work, creativity, or whatever makes your soul feel steady again. You cannot win quietly if your entire life is still built around the person you are trying to detach from. You must become busy with becoming whole. Not busy pretending you do not care, but busy growing into someone who no longer needs to chase. Build a life that makes your absence from toxic connections feel natural. Build confidence that does not collapse when one person ignores you. Build discipline that carries you when your emotions are weak. Build friendships, skills, habits, and dreams that remind you that your world is bigger than one person's inability to love you properly. And understand this deeply. The person who pulls their energy back is not losing love. They are recovering power. They are recovering the part of themselves that kept waiting. They are recovering the dignity that kept bending. They are recovering the focus that kept disappearing. They are recovering the peace that was buried under anxiety. They are recovering the future that was delayed by attachment. Every day you do not chase, you become more present in your own life. Every day you do not beg, your self-respect becomes stronger. Every day you do not return to the same pattern, your soul begins to trust you again. So pull your energy back in silence. Do it slowly, but do it seriously. Stop giving your full attention to people who only give you confusion. Stop making yourself constantly available to those who only appear when they need something from you. Stop allowing your heart to be a place where others come for comfort while leaving you empty. Choose distance when closeness keeps breaking you. Choose calm when their inconsistency invites panic. Choose yourself when your old habits beg you to chase. Let them wonder why your energy changed. Let them feel the absence of what they took for granted. Let them meet the version of you that no longer over-explains, over-gives, overweights, or over-bleeds for connection. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. You do not need to prove your pain to be valid. You do not need to announce your healing for it to be real. Sometimes the most powerful transformation is the one that happens quietly, while everyone else thinks you are simply becoming distant. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming whole. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming careful. You are not losing your heart. You are learning where it should no longer live. And the more you pull your energy back, the more you will feel something beautiful returning inside you. Your peace, your confidence, your focus, your dignity, your self-trust, and the quiet power that was always there before you gave too much of yourself to people who gave too little back. Chapter 3. Rebuild the self you abandoned. The third lesson of quiet power is one of the most important lessons in this entire audiobook, because detachment is not only about walking away from people who drain you, it is also about walking back to the version of yourself you left behind while trying to be loved, chosen, understood, and valued. Many people think the hardest part of detaching is losing the other person, but the deeper pain is realizing how much of yourself you lost while trying to keep them. You abandoned your peace to keep the connection alive. You abandoned your standards to avoid losing them. You abandoned your goals because your mind was too busy overthinking their behavior. You abandoned your joy because your heart was waiting for someone else to become consistent. And now, if you truly want to win quietly, you must rebuild the self you abandoned. When you chase someone for too long, your life slowly becomes smaller. At first, you do not notice it. You still smile. You still go through your routine. You still tell yourself everything is fine. But little by little, your attention starts moving away from your own future and toward their behavior. You stop focusing on your growth because you are busy wondering why they changed. You stop enjoying your day because one cold reply can ruin your entire mood. You stop sleeping peacefully because your mind keeps replaying conversations, searching for hidden meanings, trying to understand whether they still care or whether you are slowly being replaced. This is how attachment becomes a prison. The door is open, but your mind keeps convincing you that you cannot leave. The version of you that existed before this pain had a different energy. Maybe you were lighter, maybe you laughed more freely, maybe you were more focused on your dreams, maybe you had confidence in your own path, maybe you enjoyed simple things without needing someone's attention to complete the moment. Maybe you did not check your phone with a heavy chest. Maybe you did not question your worth every time someone acted distant. That version of you is not gone forever. It is buried under emotional exhaustion, under disappointment, under waiting, under self-doubt, under the habit of giving too much to people who gave too little back. Rebuilding means gently digging that version out and reminding yourself that you still belong to yourself. You must understand that self-abandonment does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like saying yes when your soul wanted to say no. Sometimes it looks like replying instantly to someone who ignored you for days. Sometimes it looks like accepting an apology that came without changed behavior. Sometimes it looks like staying quiet about your needs because you are afraid they will call you difficult. Sometimes it looks like making excuses for someone's disrespect because you do not want to face the truth that they knew what they were doing. Every time you choose someone else's comfort over your own inner truth, you leave yourself a little further behind. To rebuild yourself, you must first stop betraying yourself in small ways. Stop pretending you are okay when you are not okay. Stop calling it patience when it is really fear of being alone. Stop calling it love when it keeps making you feel worthless. Stop calling it loyalty when you are the only one carrying the weight. Stop calling it hope when the pattern has already shown you the answer. Healing begins when you stop lying to yourself just to keep a fantasy alive. The truth may hurt, but it will hurt cleanly. Lies hurt repeatedly. Denial keeps reopening the wound. Acceptance gives the wound a chance to close. Rebuilding yourself is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming present in your own life again. It means waking up and asking, "What do I need today?" instead of only asking, "Do they still care?" It means noticing your body, your mind, your responsibilities, your dreams, your environment, your health, your money, your skills, your peace. It means turning your attention back toward the life that still needs you. You cannot keep giving all your energy to someone who is unsure about you while your own life is waiting for you to return. Your future deserves the version of you that you keep giving to people who do not even know how to value it. Start with your routine, because routine is where broken people begin to rebuild power. When your emotions are unstable, you need structure. When your heart is weak, you need discipline. When your mind wants to run back to old pain, you need habits that pull you forward. Wake up at a time that honors your life. Make your bed, clean your space, drink water, move your body, read something that strengthens your mind, write down what you are feeling, plan your day, and do one thing that your future self will thank you for. These actions may look small, but they are not small. They are proof that you are no longer living only around someone else's attention. They are proof that you are becoming responsible for your own peace again. You must also rebuild your body, because emotional pain often lives inside the body quietly. When you chase someone who creates anxiety, your body becomes used to tension, your chest feels heavy, your sleep becomes disturbed, your appetite changes, your energy drops, your face loses its glow. Your nervous system becomes addicted to waiting, checking, reacting, and fearing loss. This is why healing cannot only happen in your thoughts. You must care for the body that carried you through the pain. Walk, stretch, exercise, rest, eat better, breathe deeply, sleep properly. Let your body learn that it is no longer living in emotional danger. A calm body helps create a calm mind. Then rebuild your mind, because your mind has been trained to focus on them. It has been trained to search for signs, to predict their mood, to replay their words, to imagine what they are doing, to compare yourself with others, to create painful stories from silence. You must retrain your mind with patience. When your thoughts run toward them, bring them back to yourself. Ask, what can I control right now? Ask, what decision would protect my peace? Ask, what part of my life needs my attention today? At first, your mind will resist because it is used to the old pattern, but every time you redirect your thoughts, you weaken the attachment and strengthen your self-command. Do not underestimate the power of learning something new during this season. A person who is rebuilding must feed the mind with growth. Learn a skill, improve your work, study something that makes you more capable. Build your communication, your confidence, your knowledge, your discipline, your creativity. The energy that once went into chasing must now go into becoming. When you begin improving yourself, you stop feeling like your life is frozen because someone did not choose you. You realize there is movement available to you, there is progress available to you, there is a future available to you that does not require their permission. Rebuild your confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Confidence is not created by compliments. Confidence is created by self-trust. Every time you say you will do something and then you do it, you teach your soul that you can rely on yourself. Every time you protect a boundary, you teach your heart that you are safe with yourself. Every time you refuse to go back to what broke you, you teach your inner child that you will not abandon them again. This is how power returns, not suddenly, not loudly, but through repeated proof that you are becoming someone who stands with yourself. You must also rebuild your standards. Pain often lowers standards because loneliness makes crumbs look like a feast. When you have been ignored for too long, a little attention can feel like love. When you have been emotionally starved, a simple reply can feel like hope. When you have been made to feel replaceable, even temporary interest can feel valuable. But rebuilding requires you to raise the standard again. You must remind yourself that consistency is not too much to ask for. Respect is not too much to ask for. Honesty is not too much to ask for. Emotional safety is not too much to ask for. You are not difficult because you want to be treated with care. You became tired because you kept accepting less than your heart deserved. One reason people struggle to rebuild is because they keep romanticizing the person who hurt them. They remember the soft moments and forget the pattern. They remember the good beginning and ignore the painful middle. They remember the apology and forget the repetition. They remember how the person made them feel special once and ignore how many times they made them feel unwanted afterward. If you want to rebuild yourself, you must stop editing the truth to make the past look more beautiful than it was. Yes, there may have been good moments. Yes, there may have been real feelings. Yes, you may have shared memories that mattered. But good moments do not cancel harmful patterns. A few warm days do not justify months of confusion. Rebuilding also means grieving honestly. Do not shame yourself for missing them. Do not call yourself weak because your heart still feels attached. Do not pretend you have healed just because you understand the lesson. Understanding is not the same as healing. You may know someone was not good for your peace and still miss them. You may know you deserve better and still feel sad. You may know walking away was right and still cry over what you wished it could have been. This is normal. Grief is not proof that you made the wrong decision. Grief is proof that you cared. Let yourself feel, but do not let feelings drag you back into the same cycle. There is a difference between pain that heals you and pain that repeats you. The pain of missing someone will eventually soften if you keep choosing yourself. The pain of returning to someone who keeps hurting you will keep restarting. Choose the pain that leads to freedom. Choose the pain that has an ending. Choose the pain that rebuilds you instead of the pain that keeps making you smaller. Healing may hurt, but it gives something back. Chasing hurts and takes more from you every time. As you rebuild, be careful who you allow around your healing. Some people will not understand your quiet season. They may tell you to move on quickly. They may tell you to forgive and return. They may tell you that you are overreacting. They may make your pain feel small because they did not live inside your confusion. Protect your healing from careless opinions. You do not need everyone to understand why you are stepping back. You do not need permission to choose peace. Sometimes the people who judge your boundary are the same people who would never survive the pain that forced you to build it. You must create a private space inside yourself where your worth is not up for debate. This is very important. If your worth is always open for discussion, then every person's behavior will feel like a verdict. If they choose you, you feel valuable. If they ignore you, you feel worthless. If they praise you, you feel confident. If they leave, you collapse. This is not peace. This is emotional slavery. Your worth must become something you know before anyone arrives, and something you keep after anyone leaves. People can affect your feelings, but they should not be allowed to define your value. Rebuild your identity beyond being loved by someone. You are not only the person who was left. You are not only the person who was ignored. You are not only the person who cared too much. You are not only the person who got attached. You are a whole human being with gifts, intelligence, dreams, humor, depth, strength, beauty, and a future. Pain may be part of your story, but it is not your entire name. Do not let one connection become the mirror through which you see your whole life. There is more inside you than what they failed to appreciate. This is the season where you must become curious about yourself again. What do you enjoy? What kind of life do you want? What makes you feel peaceful? What kind of people bring out your best energy? What habits make you stronger? What dreams did you delay? What talents did you ignore? What boundaries did you fail to protect? What lessons is this pain trying to teach you? These questions bring you back home to yourself. They shift your attention away from the person who confused you and toward the person who needs you, you. And as you rebuild, do not announce every step. Quiet growth is powerful because it is protected from unnecessary opinions. You do not need to tell everyone you are healing. You do not need to prove you are doing better. You do not need to post your transformation for the person who lost you to see it. Rebuild in silence. Let your routine change before your image changes. Let your mind change before your life changes. Let your standards change before your relationships change. Let your energy become different before anyone knows why. The strongest transformations are often hidden at first. There will be days when you feel strong and days when you feel weak. There will be mornings when you wake up peaceful and nights when memories return like waves. There will be moments when you feel free and moments when you miss the old connection so deeply that you question your progress. Do not panic. Healing is not a straight road. Healing is a return. Some days you take 10 steps forward. Some days you sit still and breathe. Some days you cry and still do not go back. That is progress. The goal is not to never feel pain again. The goal is to stop letting pain make decisions for you. The self you abandoned will not return through one big promise. It will return through daily loyalty. It will return when you choose sleep over late-night overthinking. It will return when you choose discipline over emotional impulses. It will return when you choose silence over begging. It will return when you choose your future over a familiar wound. It will return when you stop asking, "Why did they not choose me?" and start asking, "Why did I keep choosing someone who made me feel unchosen?" That question may hurt, but it is powerful because it brings responsibility back to you. Not blame, responsibility. You are not responsible for how they treated you, but you are responsible for how long you keep giving them access after the pattern becomes clear. You are not responsible for their immaturity, but you are responsible for protecting your peace from it. You are not responsible for making someone value you, but you are responsible for refusing to stay where you are not valued. This is not self-blame. This is self-respect awakening. When you rebuild yourself, you begin to understand that losing someone can become the doorway to finding yourself. The connection that broke you can become the lesson that strengthens you. The silence that hurt you can become the silence where you hear your own soul again. The absence that scared you can become the space where your confidence grows. The ending that felt like rejection can become the beginning of your return. One day, you will look back and realize that you were not only detaching from a person, you were detaching from the version of yourself that tolerated too little, waited too long, loved without boundaries, forgave without change, and called pain devotion. You were detaching from the belief that you had to be chosen by someone else to be complete. You were detaching from the habit of shrinking your needs so someone else would stay comfortable. You were detaching from emotional hunger and returning to inner fullness. That is when quiet power begins to settle inside you. You no longer chase because you are no longer empty. You no longer beg because you are no longer disconnected from your own worth. You no longer panic when someone pulls away because you know you can stand with yourself. You no longer accept half love because you are learning to give yourself whole love. You no longer fear being alone because being with yourself no longer feels like punishment. So rebuild the self you abandoned. Rebuild slowly, but rebuild honestly. Rebuild your mornings, rebuild your focus, rebuild your standards, rebuild your health, rebuild your confidence, rebuild your boundaries, rebuild your dreams. Rebuild the quiet belief that your life is still yours, your future is still waiting, and your peace is still possible. Do not rush the process. Do not compare your healing to anyone else. Do not measure your progress by how quickly you forget them. Measure it by how often you remember yourself. From this moment forward, your energy must return to the place it was always meant to live, inside your own life. Let the person who could not value you become the reason you finally value yourself. Let the pain that almost destroyed you become the discipline that rebuilds you. Let the rejection that made you feel small become the awakening that makes you stand taller. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience. You are starting from wisdom. You are starting from a heart that has been hurt but not defeated. And when you finally rebuild yourself, you will not need to ask anyone whether you are powerful. You will feel it in your calm. You will feel it in your boundaries. You will feel it in the way you no longer run after people who are unsure about you. You will feel it in the way you choose peace without guilt. You will feel it in the way your life becomes bigger than the person who once controlled your emotions. That is the quiet victory. That is the real return. That is how you detach slowly and win quietly. Chapter 4. Let people show you who they are. The fourth lesson of quiet power is learning to stop interrupting the truth when life is trying to show you who someone really is. Many people stay trapped in pain because they keep editing reality to protect the version of a person they created in their heart. They see the distance, but they call it busyness. They feel the disrespect, but they call it stress. They notice the inconsistency, but they call it confusion. They receive half effort, but they call it love that needs time. And slowly, without realizing it, they become loyal not to the person standing in front of them, but to the image they wished that person would become. This is one of the deepest forms of emotional blindness, because it makes you suffer for potential while ignoring the pattern that is hurting you every day. People do not reveal themselves only through big betrayals. Most of the time, they reveal themselves through small repeated actions that your heart does not want to accept. They reveal themselves through how they respond when you need them. They reveal themselves through how quickly they disappear after receiving what they wanted from you. They reveal themselves through the way they apologize without changing, return without improving, promise without proving, and speak beautifully while behaving carelessly. They reveal themselves through what they protect, what they neglect, what they repeat, and what they expect you to keep forgiving. A person can say the right words, but their pattern will always tell the deeper truth. When you are attached, you often stop observing clearly because your fear of losing them becomes stronger than your desire to know the truth. You do not watch their behavior as it is, you watch it through hope. You do not hear their excuses as excuses, you hear them as reasons to stay. You do not see their silence as neglect. You see it as something you must fix by being more patient, more understanding, more available, more forgiving, or more quiet about your pain. This is how chasing keeps you blind. You are so busy trying to keep the connection alive that you stop asking whether the connection is keeping you alive inside. To detach slowly, you must become brave enough to observe without forcing the answer to be what you want. Watch what happens when you stop initiating everything. Watch what happens when you stop carrying the emotional weight. Watch what happens when you stop sending the first message, stop explaining every feeling, stop covering every silence, stop making excuses, and stop saving the relationship from the truth. Many connections only survive because one person keeps doing the work of two. When you finally step back, the connection reveals whether it had real roots or whether it was only standing because you were holding it up. This is why silence is so powerful. Silence gives people room to reveal themselves. When you stop chasing, some people will step forward with sincerity, responsibility, and real effort. They will ask, they will notice, they will care, and they will show you through action that your presence matters. But others will only become upset because your energy is no longer available to them. They will not miss your soul. They will miss your service. They will not miss your heart. They will miss your attention. They will not miss loving you. They will miss being loved by you. There is a difference, and distance helps you see it. You must learn to stop rescuing people from the consequences of their own behavior. If someone ignored you, let them feel what your absence feels like. If someone took you for granted, stop rushing to prove you are still there. If someone only gave effort when they sensed you pulling away, watch carefully, because temporary effort is not transformation. Many people only act better when they fear losing access, but fear is not love, guilt is not growth, and panic is not maturity. Real change is not a few sweet messages after weeks of neglect. Real change is a consistent new pattern that remains even after they feel secure again. Do not be fooled by sudden attention from someone who only becomes interested when you become distant. Some people do not want to love you properly. They only want to make sure you are still emotionally available. They come back when you stop chasing because your silence threatens their control. They send a message not because they have changed, but because they feel you slipping out of their hands. They act soft for a moment, say what your heart wants to hear, and once they feel you are attached again, the same old pattern returns. This is why you must not measure people by how they behave when they are afraid to lose you. Measure them by how they treat you when they are comfortable having you. Let people show you who they are when there is nothing to gain from pretending. Let them show you who they are when you are no longer begging. Let them show you who they are when you set a boundary. Let them show you who they are when you say no. Let them show you who they are when you stop giving more than they give. Let them show you whether they respect your peace or only respect your usefulness. A person's reaction to your boundary tells you more than their words ever could. Some people love your kindness until it comes with standards. Some people love your patience until it becomes self-respect. Some people love your forgiveness until it no longer gives them permission to repeat the same harm. One of the most powerful things you can do is stop explaining away repeated behavior. Once can be a mistake, twice can be weakness, but a pattern is information. A pattern is a message. A pattern is a map showing you where the connection is going if nothing changes. If someone repeatedly makes you feel unwanted, that is not something to romanticize. If someone repeatedly disappears when you need them, that is not something to ignore. If someone repeatedly makes you question your value, that is not a challenge to prove yourself harder. That is a sign to return to yourself. Your heart may try to defend them because accepting the truth feels like losing the dream. You may remember their good side. You may remember the beginning. You may remember the moments when they were gentle, present, funny, loving, or warm. And yes, those moments may have been real, but a few good moments do not erase a painful pattern. A person can have beautiful qualities and still be unsafe for your peace. A person can have a soft side and still treat you carelessly. A person can care about you in their own way and still not have the maturity to love you in the way your heart needs. You do not have to turn them into a villain to admit they are not healthy for you. This is where quiet power becomes mature. Immature pain wants to call them bad, so leaving feels easier. Mature detachment says, maybe they are not evil, but this pattern is not good for me. Mature detachment says, maybe they have wounds, but I cannot keep bleeding because they refuse to heal. Mature detachment says, maybe they cared in some moments, but I need consistency, not memories. Mature detachment says, I can understand them without abandoning myself. This kind of clarity gives you freedom without hatred. The problem is that many people confuse understanding with accepting. You can understand why someone behaves the way they do, but that does not mean you must keep suffering under their behavior. You can understand their past, their fears, their emotional wounds, their stress, their confusion, and their pain, but understanding is not a contract to let them keep hurting you. Compassion does not require self-destruction. Love does not require emotional hunger. Patience does not require you to stay in a place where your soul is shrinking. Let people show you their priorities. People make time for what they value. They make effort for what they fear losing. They protect what they respect. They communicate with what they care to preserve. This does not mean a person must be perfect or available every second, but it does mean that their pattern should not make you feel like an afterthought. If someone can consistently show up for other things but only becomes confused, tired, busy, or unavailable when it comes to respecting your heart, you must stop lying to yourself. The issue is not time. The issue is priority. Let people show you how they handle your pain. This is very important. Anyone can enjoy your love when it is easy, warm, supportive, and convenient. But how do they behave when they hurt you? Do they listen or do they dismiss? Do they take responsibility or do they turn it around on you? Do they try to understand or do they make you feel guilty for speaking? Do they change or do they simply wait until you calm down so they can continue as before? A person who truly values you will not treat your pain like an inconvenience. They may not always respond perfectly, but they will care that their actions affected your heart. Let people show you how they act when they no longer need to impress you. In the beginning, many people can be kind, attentive, consistent, and thoughtful because they are trying to enter your life. But the real character appears after access is gained. Do they still respect you after they know you care? Do they still value your time after they know you will forgive? Do they still protect your feelings after they know you are attached? Do they still choose effort after the excitement fades? Anyone can perform in the beginning. Character is what remains when performance ends. Let people show you how they treat your absence. When you pull back, do they reflect or do they only accuse? Do they ask what happened or do they blame you for changing? Do they care about how they made you feel or do they only care that your energy is no longer feeding them? A person who values you will try to understand the distance. A person who only used your availability will resent the distance. This is why stepping back is not only healing, it is revealing. Distance does not destroy real love. Distance exposes weak love, selfish love, convenient love, and one-sided attachment. You must stop begging people to become the version of themselves that only exists in your imagination. This is hard because hope can become addictive. Hope tells you, maybe tomorrow they will understand. Hope tells you, maybe this time will be different. Hope tells you, maybe if I explain it better, love harder, wait longer, forgive more, they will finally become who I need. But wisdom asks a different question. How many times must a person show you the same thing before you believe them? At some point, refusing to see the truth is not love. It is fear wearing the mask of loyalty. There is also a painful kind of pride hidden inside chasing. Sometimes you do not stay because the person is good for you. You stay because you cannot accept that your love did not change them. You stay because you gave so much that leaving feels like admitting you wasted time. You stay because your heart wants to prove that all the pain had a purpose. But listen carefully. Leaving a painful pattern does not mean your love was wasted. It means your wisdom finally became stronger than your attachment. The lesson was not to make them change. The lesson was to make you stop abandoning yourself for someone who would not meet you halfway. When people reveal themselves, believe the pattern, not the excuse. Believe the effort, not the promise. Believe the consistency, not the emotional moment. Believe what happens after the apology, not the apology itself. Believe how they treat you when you stop giving them everything, not how they treat you when they are trying to win back access. This does not mean you become suspicious of everyone. It means you become honest with yourself. Trust is beautiful, but trust without observation becomes self-betrayal. Quiet winners are not people who never get hurt. Quiet winners are people who learn. They do not keep touching the same fire and calling it hope. They do not keep handing their heart to the same hands and acting surprised when it is dropped again. They do not keep begging life to make a person different when life has already shown them the answer. Quiet winners watch. Quiet winners accept. Quiet winners adjust. Quiet winners stop arguing with what is being revealed. And sometimes what is revealed will hurt you deeply. You may realize someone liked your presence but did not respect your needs. You may realize they loved being understood by you but never tried to understand you. You may realize they wanted your loyalty but were not loyal to your peace. You may realize they kept you close because you were useful, comforting, forgiving, available, and easy to return to, not because they were ready to love you with the same depth you offered. That truth may feel heavy, but it is still a gift, because painful truth frees you faster than beautiful lies. Do not rush to fill the silence when truth begins to appear. Do not panic and try to repair the connection just because the emptiness feels uncomfortable. Sit with what is being shown. Let the pattern speak. Let the absence speak. Let the effort or lack of effort speak. Let the person's choices speak louder than the story you built in your head. Your emotions may argue, but your peace already knows. Your body already knows. Your nervous system already knows. Every time their name appears and your chest tightens, every time their silence makes you anxious, every time their presence brings confusion instead of calm, something inside you is trying to tell you the truth. To let people show you who they are, you must stop teaching them how to hide from your standards. Every time you complain and then accept the same behavior, you teach them that your pain has no consequence. Every time you threaten to leave but return without change, you teach them that your boundaries are emotional reactions, not real decisions. Every time you forgive without requiring growth, you teach them that apology is enough to reset access. This does not make you bad. It means you were loving from fear. But now you must love yourself from wisdom. The next time someone shows you a pattern, do not immediately run into explanation mode. Do not immediately write a long message. Do not immediately try to make them see your worth. Pause, watch, breathe. Ask yourself, if this behavior never changed, would I still choose this? Ask yourself, am I attached to who they are or who I hoped they would become? Ask yourself, does this connection make me more peaceful, more confident, more alive, or does it make me smaller, anxious, and unsure? These questions are mirrors. They will show you the truth your attachment has been avoiding. And when the truth becomes clear, move with dignity. You do not have to insult them. You do not have to expose them. You do not have to win an argument. You do not have to make them admit everything. You only need to honor what you now know. A quiet exit is sometimes the highest form of self-respect. It says, I saw enough. It says, I understand the pattern. It says, I will not keep offering my peace to something that keeps returning pain. It says, I do not need to hate you to choose myself. This is how you win quietly. You stop begging people to prove what their actions have already denied. You stop forcing clarity from someone whose confusion benefits them. You stop asking for love from someone who only gives enough to keep you near but not enough to make you secure. You stop turning your life into an emotional courtroom where you keep presenting evidence of your worth to someone who has already decided to treat you casually. You step back, you observe, you accept, you choose peace. Let people show you who they are, and then let yourself believe them. Not with bitterness, but with maturity. Not with revenge, but with wisdom. Not with a hardened heart, but with a protected one. The goal is not to become suspicious of love. The goal is to stop being blind to patterns. The goal is not to punish people for being human. The goal is to stop allowing repeated harm to live in your life without consequence. The goal is not to close your heart forever. The goal is to open it only where it is valued, respected, and safe. From this moment, stop interrupting the lesson. Stop covering the red flags with excuses. Stop confusing potential with reality. Stop choosing memories over patterns. Stop staying loyal to a version of someone that only appears when they are afraid to lose you. Watch what people do when you stop chasing. Watch what they protect when you stop reminding them. Watch what they repair when you stop carrying everything. Watch how they treat the peace you are trying to rebuild. Because when you finally let people show you who they are, you also show yourself who you are becoming. You become someone who does not need to force love. You become someone who does not negotiate with disrespect. You become someone who can accept painful truth without running back to comforting lies. You become someone who understands that losing an illusion is not failure, it is freedom. And once you are free from the illusion, you can begin to love yourself with the honesty you were begging from someone else. Chapter 5. Choose peace over closure. The fifth lesson of quiet power is one of the hardest lessons your heart will ever learn, because it asks you to stop waiting for the apology, the explanation, the final conversation, the honest confession, the perfect ending, and the clear answer that you believe will finally set you free. Many people do not stay attached because the connection is still healthy. They stay attached because they are waiting for closure. They want the person who hurt them to sit in front of them and say, "Yes, I hurt you. Yes, I knew what I was doing. Yes, you deserved better. Yes, I took you for granted. Yes, I lost someone who truly cared." But life does not always give you that kind of ending. Sometimes the person who broke your peace will never have the courage to name what they did. Sometimes the person who confused you will never explain the confusion, because confusion was the very thing that kept you attached. Sometimes the person who made you feel alone will never admit they left you emotionally hungry, because admitting it would force them to face the part of themselves they keep avoiding. Closure feels powerful because it promises relief. It tells you that if you can just understand why they changed, why they left, why they stopped trying, why they came close and then pulled away, why they made promises and then acted differently, why they made you feel special and then made you feel replaceable, then maybe your heart will finally stop hurting. But the truth is, many times the answer you are waiting for is already hidden inside the pattern you survived. The silence was an answer. The inconsistency was an answer. The lack of effort was an answer. The way they only cared when you were leaving was an answer. The way they made you explain the same pain again and again was an answer. The way they could sleep while you were overthinking was an answer. The way they made you feel like asking for basic respect was asking for too much was an answer. Your heart keeps searching for words, but their actions have already spoken. You must understand that closure from the wrong person can become another trap. You think one more conversation will free you, but sometimes one more conversation only gives them one more chance to confuse you. One more conversation becomes one more apology without change. One more explanation becomes one more excuse dressed like honesty. One more meeting becomes one more emotional reset, where they say enough to soften your heart, but not enough to rebuild your trust. You leave the conversation feeling hopeful for a few days, then the same pattern returns and suddenly you are back where you started, except now you are more tired, more disappointed, and more ashamed of yourself for believing again. This is why peace must become more important than closure. Closure may satisfy your curiosity, but peace protects your future. There is a kind of pain that comes from not knowing. You wonder if they ever loved you. You wonder if you were too much. You wonder if you were not enough. You wonder if someone else got the version of them you begged for. You wonder if they miss you. You wonder if they regret hurting you. You wonder if they know how deeply their behavior affected your heart. But some questions do not heal you when answered. They only keep your wound alive. Even if they told you why, would it change what happened? Even if they admitted they were careless, would it return the nights you lost to anxiety? Even if they said they missed you, would that prove they were ready to love you properly? Even if they cried, would that erase the pattern that made you feel unsafe? Sometimes your mind asks for answers, but your soul is asking for release. Choosing peace over closure means you stop giving the person who hurt you the authority to decide when your healing can begin. You do not need their apology to start sleeping better. You do not need their explanation to rebuild your confidence. You do not need their regret to prove your value. You do not need their confession to validate your pain. What happened to you was real, even if they deny it. What you felt was real, even if they minimize it. What you survived was real, even if they tell the story differently. Your healing does not need permission from the person who made healing necessary. This is where many people lose years of their life. They wait for the person to become honest. They wait for the person to understand. They wait for the person to feel the weight of what they did. They wait for karma, regret, apology, replacement, return, confession, or a sign that the universe has balanced the pain. But while they wait, their own life remains frozen. Their dreams wait, their confidence waits, their peace waits, their future waits. Their heart stays sitting outside a door that may never open, holding pain like proof, hoping the person inside will finally come out and say what should have been said long ago. But quiet power begins when you stand up from that door and say, even if they never explain, I will still be free. Freedom without closure is difficult because it requires you to trust your own experience. It requires you to stop needing the other person to agree that they hurt you. It requires you to stop arguing with their version of events. Some people will rewrite the story to protect their ego. They will say you were too sensitive. They will say you expected too much. They will say they were busy, confused, stressed, pressured, misunderstood, or going through something. They may even make themselves the victim of the pain they caused. If you are not careful, you will get trapped trying to defend your reality to someone who benefits from denying it. Do not do that to yourself. Your peace is not found in winning an argument with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You must let go of the fantasy that every person who hurts you will one day become wise enough to apologize properly. Some people apologize only to stop the conversation. Some apologize because they want access again. Some apologize because they feel guilty, not because they have changed. Some apologize with words while their behavior prepares to repeat the same wound. And some never apologize at all, because their pride is stronger than their love. If you make your healing dependent on their emotional maturity, you may remain wounded for a long time. Your healing must be bigger than their ability to admit the truth. Peace is not weakness. Peace is not pretending the pain did not matter. Peace is not saying what they did was okay. Peace is saying what they did was not okay, but I will not keep drinking poison waiting for them to admit it. Peace is saying, I deserved better, and that is exactly why I am no longer staying here. Peace is saying, I do not need revenge because I need recovery. Peace is saying, I do not need to make them suffer because I need to stop suffering. Peace is not letting them escape responsibility. Peace is refusing to keep yourself imprisoned by their lack of responsibility. The heart often confuses closure with contact. It thinks, if I talk to them one more time, I will feel better. But ask yourself honestly, how many times did talking to them actually make you feel better for more than a moment? How many times did you explain your feelings and still feel unheard? How many times did you receive an apology but not a change? How many times did they say they understood but then repeated the same behavior? How many times did you go back because the conversation gave you hope, only to find yourself hurt again by the same pattern? At some point, another conversation is not closure. It is a return to the place where your wound was created. There is a sacred kind of silence that comes when you stop asking the wrong person for the right ending. You stop sending messages that begin with, I just want to understand. You stop rehearsing speeches in your mind. You stop imagining them finally breaking down and confessing everything. You stop waiting for them to see your worth in the exact way they failed to see it before. You stop chasing emotional justice from someone who did not treat your emotions with justice. And in that silence, at first you may feel pain, but after the pain you begin to feel something deeper, relief. Relief that you no longer have to keep proving your hurt. Relief that you no longer have to keep negotiating your reality. Relief that you no longer have to keep asking someone to care about the damage they were comfortable causing. Choosing peace over closure also means accepting that some stories end without a clean ending. Some people leave your life with questions still floating in the air. Some relationships close like a door in the dark, with no explanation, no apology, no final respect, no proper goodbye. That kind of ending can feel cruel, but it can also become a teacher. It teaches you that not everything unfinished deserves to be reopened. It teaches you that your future cannot depend on every past wound making perfect sense. It teaches you that you can move forward even while one part of your heart still does not understand. It teaches you that maturity is not always having every answer. Sometimes maturity is choosing peace while answers remain missing. You may never know why they did what they did. Maybe they were emotionally immature. Maybe they liked attention more than responsibility. Maybe they wanted comfort without commitment. Maybe they were fighting their own wounds and did not know how to love without hurting. Maybe they cared but not enough to change. Maybe they were not evil but they were careless. Maybe they were not lying about every feeling, but they were not strong enough to protect what they claimed to feel. Maybe the truth is complicated, but listen carefully. Even if the reason is complicated, the result was clear. You were not at peace, you were not secure, you were not treated with the care your heart deserved. That is enough information to choose yourself. Many people fear choosing peace because they think it means losing the last connection they have to the person. Pain can become a rope. Overthinking can become a rope. Unanswered questions can become a rope. Even anger can become a rope. As long as you are angry, you still feel connected. As long as you are waiting for an apology, you still feel connected. As long as you are imagining what you would say if they came back, you still feel connected. But healing asks you to drop the rope, not because nothing mattered, but because your hands are bleeding. You cannot receive your own life while both hands are holding a wound. Dropping the rope does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without being controlled. It means you may still think of them, but you no longer build your day around them. It means you may still feel sadness, but you no longer use sadness as a reason to return. It means you may still have questions, but you no longer let questions become chains. It means you may still care, but you care from a distance that protects your peace. This is the difference between being healed and pretending not to feel. Healing does not erase memory. Healing removes the power of memory to drag you backward. There will be moments when your mind tries to bargain with you. It will say, maybe send one message. It will say, maybe they changed. It will say, maybe if they explain, everything will feel different. It will say, maybe you are being too hard. In those moments, do not only remember the person, remember the pattern. Remember how your body felt when you were waiting. Remember the anxiety in your chest. Remember the nights your mind would not rest. Remember how small you felt after asking for the bare minimum. Remember how many times hope pulled you back into the same disappointment. Your mind may romanticize the good moments, but your nervous system remembers the truth. Choosing peace requires discipline because your emotions will not always agree with your wisdom. Your heart may miss them while your spirit knows they were not safe. Your body may crave their attention while your mind knows the attention was inconsistent. Your memories may soften the past while your reality reminds you why you had to leave. This inner conflict is normal. Do not mistake the pain of withdrawal for proof that you need to return. Sometimes you are not missing the person, you are missing the feeling of being attached. Sometimes you are not missing love, you are missing familiarity. Sometimes you are not missing peace, you are missing the high after the pain, the relief after the distance, the temporary sweetness after the fear of losing them. That cycle can feel like love, but it is not love that heals you. It is attachment that exhausts you. Peace is built when you stop choosing emotional intensity over emotional safety. Many people become addicted to connections that make them feel extreme highs and extreme lows. They think the pain proves depth. They think the longing proves destiny. They think the confusion proves mystery. They think the emotional roller coaster proves passion. But real love does not need to destroy your nervous system to feel meaningful. Real love does not make you suffer for every small moment of warmth. Real love does not make you feel like you are constantly trying to win back a person who already has your heart. Peace may feel boring at first when chaos has trained you to call anxiety love, but peace is where your real self returns. This chapter is not telling you to deny your need for understanding. It is telling you to stop sacrificing your peace for answers that may never come honestly. You can write the message and not send it. You can speak the words in your journal. You can cry. You can admit what hurt. You can tell the truth to yourself. You can create your own closure by saying, I know what I experienced. I know what it cost me. I know what I deserve now. Sometimes closure is not hearing from them. Sometimes closure is finally hearing yourself. Create your own closure by naming the lesson. Say to yourself, this taught me not to chase inconsistency. Say, this taught me that love without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. Say, this taught me that potential is not enough. Say, this taught me that my peace must matter more than someone's access to me. Say, this taught me that I can care deeply and still walk away. When you name the lesson, the pain becomes less meaningless. It becomes wisdom. It becomes direction. It becomes a boundary for the future. Create your own closure by forgiving yourself. Forgive yourself for staying too long. Forgive yourself for ignoring the first signs. Forgive yourself for believing the apology. Forgive yourself for sending the message. Forgive yourself for waiting. Forgive yourself for hoping. Forgive yourself for loving someone more than they were able to love you back. You were not stupid. You were human. You were attached. You saw possibility. You believed in goodness. You wanted the ending to match the beginning. There is no shame in having a heart. The only mistake would be to keep punishing yourself for learning the lesson late. Create your own closure by removing the reminders that keep reopening the wound. Do not keep returning to old conversations like they are sacred documents. Do not keep staring at pictures that pull you back into a version of the past that no longer exists. Do not keep checking their life from a distance and calling it harmless. Every unnecessary reminder feeds the attachment. Every time you look, you reopen a door your peace is trying to close. You cannot heal a wound you keep touching just to see if it still hurts. Let distance do its work. Let time do its work. Let silence do its work. Create your own closure by choosing a new routine when the old pain tries to visit. When you want to message them, walk instead. When you want to check their profile, read something that strengthens you. When you want to replay the past, write down what your future needs from you. When loneliness rises, do something that returns you to your body, your room, your work, your faith, your creativity, your health, your real life. Closure is not only a thought, closure is a practice. Every time you choose a healing action instead of an old reaction, you close the door a little more. And if they come back before you are fully healed, be careful. Sometimes people return not because they are ready to love you properly, but because they felt your energy leaving. Sometimes they return with words that sound like closure, but are actually an invitation back into the cycle. They may say they miss you. They may say they have been thinking. They may say they did not realize your worth. They may say they are sorry. Listen, but do not surrender your wisdom too quickly. If they return, ask yourself, is this change or is this comfort seeking? Is this accountability or is this fear of losing access? Is this a new pattern or just a new paragraph? Your peace must not be so easily traded for familiar words. The person who chooses peace over closure becomes powerful because they no longer need the past to cooperate before they move forward. They no longer stand still waiting for someone else's emotional growth. They no longer beg the person who confused them to become the person who frees them. They stop making their healing dependent on a conversation that may never happen. They stop asking the wound for permission to close. They decide quietly and firmly, I am allowed to heal even if they never understand what they did. That decision is not easy, but it is life-changing. It means you are taking your power back from the unanswered message, the unfinished conversation, the missing apology, the cold goodbye, the confusing ending, and the person who left you with questions. It means you are finally accepting that peace is not always found in knowing more. Sometimes peace is found in needing less. Less explanation, less contact, less checking, less hoping, less returning, less emotional negotiation, less chasing, more silence, more self-respect, more acceptance. more future. There is a moment in healing when you stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and begin asking, "What will I do for myself now?" That is the turning point. The first question keeps you tied to them. The second question returns you to yourself. The first question keeps you looking backward. The second question opens a door forward. The first question may never be answered. The second question can be answered today through one peaceful decision, one boundary, one act of self-care, one refusal to return to what keeps breaking you. So choose peace, even when your heart still wants closure. Choose peace when your mind wants to investigate. Choose peace when your fingers want to type. Choose peace when the memories try to make the past look softer than it was. Choose peace when they act like nothing happened. Choose peace when they never apologize. Choose peace when they move on without explaining. Choose peace when the story ends in a way you did not deserve. Choose peace because your soul has already spent enough time living inside someone else's unfinished lesson. You do not need the final conversation to become free. You do not need the perfect apology to become whole. You do not need them to regret losing you before you start valuing yourself. You do not need their version of the story to validate your pain. You do not need them to become honest for you to become healed. You only need to decide that your peace is more important than their explanation. Let the unanswered questions remain unanswered if answering them would cost you your dignity. Let the apology never come if waiting for it keeps you trapped. Let the story end without the ending you wanted if forcing an ending means reopening a wound that is trying to close. Let your closure be this: you gave what you could, you learned what you needed, you saw what was real, and now you are choosing yourself. This is how you detach slowly. You stop demanding that the past give you a clean goodbye. You stop asking the person who hurt you to become the author of your healing. You stop waiting for emotional justice before you begin emotional freedom. You stop chasing closure and start choosing peace. And one day, without realizing it, you will wake up and feel lighter, not because they finally explained, not because they finally apologized, not because they finally understood, but because you finally stopped needing them to. Chapter 6. Become unavailable to disrespect. The sixth lesson of quiet power is where your healing becomes serious, because it is one thing to understand your pain, but it is another thing to stop giving that pain permission to return. Many people say they want peace, but they remain available to the same disrespect that destroyed their peace in the first place. They leave the door open for people who only enter to take, confuse, drain, apologize, repeat, and disappear again. They say they are done, but they still answer the message. They say they are healing, but they still check the person who hurt them. They say they deserve better, but they still make space for the bare minimum. And this is why their life does not change. Not because they are weak, but because their availability has not changed. Your life will not rise to the level of what you say you want. Your life will rise to the level of what you keep allowing. If you say you want respect, but keep accepting disrespect, your soul becomes confused. If you say you want peace, but keep returning to chaos, your nervous system never learns safety. If you say you want love, but keep accepting emotional crumbs, your heart never experiences fullness. If you say you are done chasing, but still give instant access to people who ignored you, your self-respect cannot fully rebuild. At some point, healing requires more than words. Healing requires a new standard that your actions are brave enough to protect. Becoming unavailable to disrespect does not mean becoming cold, arrogant, rude, or cruel. It does not mean you start treating people badly because someone treated you badly. It does not mean you punish new people for old wounds. It simply means your heart is no longer an open room where anyone can enter, make a mess, and leave when they are done. It means your peace now has a door. It means your kindness now has wisdom. It means your forgiveness no longer comes with unlimited access. It means you can love deeply, but you will not keep standing in places where love is used as an excuse to hurt you. For a long time, you may have believed that being loving meant being endlessly available. Available to explain, available to forgive, available to comfort, available to listen, available to understand, available to wait, available to accept, available to restart, available to receive someone back without proof of change. But love without boundaries becomes exhaustion. Kindness without standards becomes self-betrayal. Patience without limits becomes permission for people to repeat what they should have corrected. You were not created to be endlessly available to people who only value you when they need something from you. You must become unavailable to one-sided effort. A connection where you are always the one reaching, repairing, initiating, forgiving, checking, caring, and holding everything together is not love. It is emotional labor without balance. If a relationship only survives because you keep feeding it, then step back and see whether it can breathe on its own. Stop carrying conversations that would disappear without your messages. Stop maintaining closeness with people who only remember you when life becomes empty for them. Stop calling it loyalty when you are doing the work of two hearts while the other person enjoys the benefits without responsibility. You must become unavailable to mixed signals. Mixed signals are not romance. They are not mystery. They are not depth. They are emotional confusion that keeps your heart addicted to trying harder. One day they are warm, the next day they are distant. One day they speak like you matter, the next day they behave like you are replaceable. One day they pull you close, the next day they make you feel foolish for believing the closeness was real. This cycle can become addictive because every small moment of warmth feels like relief after the pain of distance. But relief is not love. Relief is what your heart feels when anxiety temporarily stops. Do not confuse the end of panic with the presence of peace. You must become unavailable to people who only return when you are finally healing. Some people have a strange way of sensing when your energy is leaving. They may not value you when you are fully present, but the moment you become quiet, the moment you stop chasing, the moment you begin rebuilding your life, they suddenly appear. They send a message. They ask how you are. They act like nothing happened. They bring softness back into their voice. And if you are not careful, your healing will pause, because their return will feel like the answer you were waiting for. But ask yourself, are they returning with accountability, or are they returning because your absence made them uncomfortable? Are they returning with change? Or are they returning to see if the old door is still open? You must become unavailable to apologies without transformation. An apology can sound beautiful and still be empty. Someone can say, "I am sorry," and still have no plan to become different. Someone can admit they hurt you and still continue hurting you. Someone can cry, regret, promise, and speak softly, but if their behavior returns to the same pattern, then the apology was only a pause, not a change. Do not be moved only by emotional words. Be moved by consistent action. Be moved by responsibility. Be moved by the kind of change that remains when the conversation is over and the person is no longer afraid of losing you. You must become unavailable to being someone's emotional shelter while they refuse to give you emotional safety. Some people come to you when they are broken, lonely, bored, stressed, or in need of comfort. But when you need gentleness, they disappear. They want your understanding, but they do not try to understand you. They want your patience, but they become irritated by your pain. They want your loyalty, but they do not protect your heart. They want your warmth, but they leave you cold. This is not connection. This is emotional consumption. They are using your depth to survive their emptiness while leaving you drained. You must become unavailable to people who make you feel guilty for having standards. This is very important. When you finally begin protecting yourself, some people will call you changed. They will say you are acting different. They will say you are too serious, too sensitive, too proud, too distant, too hard to reach. They will not always say this because you are wrong. Sometimes they say it because your new boundary interrupts their old access. They liked the version of you that accepted everything quietly. They liked the version of you that made excuses for them. They liked the version of you that felt guilty for asking for more. But the version of you that has standards will feel uncomfortable to anyone who benefited from your lack of them. Do not let guilt pull you back into disrespect. Guilt is one of the strongest weapons against people who are kind. People know that if they can make you feel bad for choosing yourself, you may abandon your boundary just to prove you are still good. But your goodness is not measured by how much pain you can tolerate. Your love is not proven by how long you stay where you are not respected. Your heart is not selfish because it finally wants safety. You can be a good person and still leave. You can be loving and still say no. You can forgive someone and still remove their access to you. Becoming unavailable means your boundaries must become real, not emotional speeches, not threats you make when you are hurt, not temporary distance until they say something sweet. Real boundaries are decisions you honor, even when your emotions are shaking. A boundary is not "you better not do this again." A boundary is, "if this pattern continues, I will remove myself." A boundary is not begging someone to respect you. A boundary is showing through your choices that access to you requires respect. A boundary is not a wall built from bitterness. It is a door with wisdom. Many people fail to protect boundaries because they make them while they are angry, but abandon them when they are lonely. In anger, they say "never again." In loneliness, they say "maybe one more time." In pain, they say "I deserve better." In longing, they say maybe they did not mean it. This is why you must build boundaries from clarity, not only emotion. Write down what happened. Write down how it made you feel. Write down the pattern, not just the moment. Write down what you will no longer accept. When your feelings become soft again, return to the truth you wrote when your mind was clear. You must become unavailable to your own old weakness as well. This may sound strong, but it is necessary. Sometimes the person outside you is not the only problem. Sometimes the old version of you keeps opening the door. The old version of you wants to believe every apology. The old version of you wants to rescue people who keep hurting you. The old version of you wants to confuse attachment with destiny. The old version of you wants to accept crumbs because crumbs feel better than emptiness. You do not need to hate that old version. That version protected you the only way it knew. But now you must lead it with wisdom. You must say, "I understand why you want to go back, but I will not let us return to what broke us." Become unavailable to the need to be chosen at any cost. This need is what makes people accept the unacceptable. When being chosen becomes more important than being respected, you will keep shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's convenience. You will become quieter about your pain, softer about your boundaries, faster with forgiveness, slower to walk away, and more willing to explain why you deserve basic care. But being chosen by the wrong person can become a prison. It is better to be alone with your dignity than attached to someone who makes you feel unwanted while keeping you close. Become unavailable to relationships that make you perform for love. You should not have to constantly prove that you are worth effort. You should not have to become less emotional, less expressive, less needy, less honest, less human, just to be easier for someone to handle. You should not have to compete with silence, confusion, distance, or other people for basic respect. The right connection does not require you to audition every day. It allows you to breathe. It allows you to be seen. It allows you to express your needs without feeling like you are risking abandonment. Become unavailable to emotional gambling. Emotional gambling is when you keep investing in someone because you hope one day they will finally pay back the love you gave. You keep thinking, "After everything I have done, surely they will realize." But love is not a casino where you keep losing more because you already lost so much. The more you invest in the wrong place, the harder it becomes to walk away because your heart starts defending the investment instead of seeing the truth. Do not keep paying with your peace for a future that the other person is not building with you. Become unavailable to people who only respect you after you disappear. Some people need distance to value what closeness should have taught them. But if someone only respects you when they fear losing you, ask yourself what happens when they feel secure again. Do they return to neglect? Do they return to laziness? Do they return to taking you for granted? Real respect should not require you to constantly leave to be noticed. Real love should not require crisis to create effort. You deserve steady care, not temporary panic. Become unavailable to being the lesson someone refuses to learn. You can teach someone how to treat you once. You can express your pain once. You can give a chance, you can show patience, but you cannot spend your whole life being someone's repeated lesson while they keep failing the same test. Some people do not change because they have not lost enough access. Some people do not grow because someone is always there to absorb the damage. If your presence keeps protecting them from consequences, your absence may become the only language they understand. But even then, do not leave to teach them. Leave to save yourself. Become unavailable to disrespect that comes disguised as jokes. Sometimes people hurt you and then say you are too sensitive. They make you feel small and then call it humor. They embarrass you and then tell you to relax. They speak sharply and then act like you are dramatic for feeling pain. Do not ignore the small cuts. Repeated small disrespect can damage your confidence more deeply than one big betrayal, because it trains you to doubt your own reactions. If something constantly makes you feel less, weaker, smaller, or unsafe, pay attention. Your body often recognizes disrespect before your mind is ready to admit it. Become unavailable to people who punish you with silence. Silence can be peaceful when it is used for healing, but silence can be harmful when it is used as control. If someone disappears every time you express a need, if they withdraw affection whenever you ask for clarity, if they leave you anxious so you will become easier to manage, that is not maturity, that is emotional punishment. You should not have to chase someone back into communication every time honesty makes them uncomfortable. Healthy people may need space, but they do not use silence as a weapon to make you regret speaking. Become unavailable to being kept as an option. If someone only keeps you close enough to benefit from your presence but never close enough to honor your heart, step back. If they enjoy your attention but avoid responsibility, step back. If they want your loyalty but refuse clarity, step back. If they keep you emotionally attached while keeping their own freedom open, step back. You were not born to be someone's backup comfort, secret support, temporary distraction, or emotional convenience. Your presence is not something people should keep on standby. Become unavailable to connections that make you betray your future. Every hour you spend trapped in emotional confusion is an hour taken from your growth. Every night you spend overthinking someone's behavior is energy stolen from your dreams. Every time you return to a connection that drains you, you delay the stronger version of yourself waiting to be built. The future you keeps calling, but the past keeps asking for another chance. At some point, you must choose which voice deserves your obedience. The person you are becoming needs your energy more than the person who keeps wasting it. This is where quiet winning becomes real. Winning quietly is not just walking away from people. It is becoming disciplined enough to stop walking back into the same fire. It is not enough to block someone if you still worship their attention in your mind. It is not enough to stop messaging if you still spend every day waiting for them to notice your silence. It is not enough to say you are done if your heart still keeps a reserved chair for disrespect. Real detachment happens when your whole life begins to agree with your self-respect. You must build a new identity. I am not available for what breaks me. Say it until your nervous system believes it. Say it when you miss them. Say it when they return. Say it when loneliness makes the old pain look attractive. Say it when your mind starts romanticizing the beginning. Say it when guilt tries to make your boundary feel cruel. Say it when you feel tempted to explain yourself again. I am not available for what breaks me. This sentence is not bitterness. It is protection. It is the sound of your soul choosing life. Being unavailable also means you stop volunteering for emotional confusion. You stop asking questions you already know the answer to. You stop entering conversations that only reopen wounds. You stop checking places that will only disturb your peace. You stop asking mutual people about them. You stop feeding the attachment with tiny pieces of information. You stop giving your mind new material to suffer over. Healing requires fewer entrances. The fewer ways the past can reach you, the more space your future has to grow. You may think this sounds strict, but peace often requires strictness in the beginning. When a wound is fresh, you do not keep touching it to prove you are strong. You protect it, you cover it, you give it time, you keep it away from things that infect it. Emotional wounds are the same. If a person, a memory, a place, a profile, a conversation or a habit keeps reopening your pain, you must create distance. Not forever necessarily, but long enough for your soul to stop bleeding. You cannot heal while constantly exposing yourself to the thing that hurts you. Some people will not understand your new unavailability. Let them misunderstand. Some will call you proud. Let them talk. Some will say you changed. Let them be right. You did change. You changed from someone who kept accepting pain into someone who finally recognized it. You changed from someone who confused access with love into someone who understands that access must be earned. You changed from someone who feared losing people into someone who fears losing themselves more. That change is not a problem. That change is your return. There is a deep dignity in becoming less accessible to the wrong things. Not everyone should be able to reach your emotions. Not every message deserves a response. Not every apology deserves another chance. Not every person from your past deserves a place in your present. Not every feeling deserves obedience. Not every memory deserves a visit. You must learn to guard the gates of your life. This does not make you hard. It makes you responsible for the peace you keep saying you want. And as you become unavailable to disrespect, you must become available to yourself. This is the part many people forget. Detachment is not only about saying no to others. It is about saying yes to your own life. Become available to your healing. Become available to your goals. Become available to your health. Become available to your sleep. Become available to your confidence. Become available to your discipline. Become available to people who love you without making you beg. Become available to moments that do not hurt. Become available to the calm you once thought was impossible. When your energy is no longer being drained by disrespect, you will be shocked by how much life returns to you. Your mornings feel different. Your thoughts become clearer. Your body begins to relax. Your goals start to matter again. Your face changes. Your voice becomes steadier. You stop feeling like you are always waiting for something to hurt. You stop living in emotional defense. You begin to understand that peace was not missing because life was empty. Peace was missing because too much of your energy was living in places that did not deserve it. There will still be tests. The old pattern may knock again. The person may return. Loneliness may whisper. Memories may soften. Your heart may try to negotiate. But this time, you must not betray yourself. This time, you must remember what it cost you. Remember the anxiety. Remember the confusion. Remember the nights you lost. Remember the version of yourself that disappeared. Remember how hard you had to work to feel calm again. Do not throw away months of healing for a moment of familiar comfort. Familiar pain is still pain. Becoming unavailable to disrespect is how you teach your soul that you are safe with yourself. Every time you refuse what once broke you, your soul trusts you more. Every time you keep a boundary, your confidence grows. Every time you do not answer the message that would drag you backward, your future becomes stronger. Every time you choose peace over access, you prove that you are no longer the same person who begged to be chosen. You are becoming someone who chooses themselves. And when you truly become unavailable to disrespect, your life begins to filter itself. People who only wanted access will fade. People who only wanted your energy will become irritated. People who only loved your lack of boundaries will call you difficult. But the right people will respect the new you. The right people will not be offended by your standards. The right people will not need you to shrink your needs so they can feel comfortable. The right people will not punish you for protecting your peace. This is how your life becomes cleaner, not because everyone approves, but because your boundaries begin removing what your heart was too afraid to release. So become unavailable, not loudly, not bitterly, not with revenge in your chest. Become unavailable with calm certainty. Become unavailable to disrespect, confusion, crumbs, manipulation, emotional punishment, empty apologies, one-sided effort, and people who only notice your worth when you are leaving. Become unavailable to the version of yourself that kept accepting less because being alone felt scary. Become unavailable to every pattern that makes you abandon your own soul. From this moment, your peace is no longer a place where careless people can rest. Your heart is no longer a shelter for those who refuse to love responsibly. Your energy is no longer free for those who only consume it. Your forgiveness is no longer a key that automatically opens the same door. Your presence is no longer guaranteed after disrespect. Your life is no longer waiting for someone else to become wise enough to stop hurting you. You are allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to stop answering. You are allowed to stop explaining. You are allowed to stop returning. You are allowed to outgrow the people who only knew how to love you when you were easy to control. You are allowed to become peaceful, even if your peace disappoints those who benefited from your pain. This is quiet power. This is self-respect in motion. This is how you rebuild your strength after chasing. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to announce anything. You only need to become unavailable to what breaks you and deeply available to what builds you. And once you master that, you will understand something that changes your whole life. The moment you stop giving access to disrespect is the moment your power starts coming home. Chapter 7. Win quietly without proving anything. The seventh lesson of quiet power is the moment where your detachment becomes complete, because now you are no longer stepping back only to survive the pain. You are stepping forward to build a life that no longer revolves around the people who failed to value you. This is where you stop trying to make them regret losing you. This is where you stop hoping they watch your growth. This is where you stop turning your healing into a message for someone else. This is where you stop using your future as revenge and begin using your future as freedom. Winning quietly means you no longer need the person who hurt you to see how strong you became. You no longer need them to admit they were wrong. You no longer need them to check your life, miss your energy, feel jealous of your peace, or regret the way they treated you. At first, your heart may want that. It may want them to look back and realize what they lost. It may want them to feel the emptiness you felt. It may want them to finally understand your value when you are no longer available. But that is still a form of attachment. If your healing still depends on their reaction, then a part of your power is still sitting in their hands. The quiet winner understands that the highest form of victory is not being noticed by the person who ignored you. It is becoming so whole that their notice no longer matters. It is waking up one day and realizing you did not check if they viewed your life. You did not wonder if they missed you. You did not imagine what you would say if they returned. You did not build your day around proving something to them. You simply lived. You simply breathed. You simply moved through your life with a calm heart. That is not ordinary, that is freedom. Many people never reach this stage because they leave physically but stay emotionally. They stop messaging, but they still perform. They stop chasing, but they still hope to be seen. They stop replying, but they still post for a reaction. They say they have moved on, but deep inside they are still waiting for the person to notice the silence. This is why quiet winning requires honesty. Ask yourself, am I healing for myself? Or am I healing so they can finally see what they lost? Am I becoming better because I love my future, or because I want my past to feel punished? Am I choosing peace, or am I trying to make my peace look attractive to someone who disturbed it? There is nothing wrong with wanting justice. There is nothing wrong with wanting someone to understand the pain they caused. But if you keep living for their realization, you remain tied to their blindness. If they never understand, will you stop growing? If they never apologize, will you stop healing? If they never regret it, will you stop becoming powerful? No. Your victory must be bigger than their awareness. Your future must be more important than their opinion. Your peace must be more precious than their delayed regret. Winning quietly means you stop trying to explain your transformation to people who were part of the reason you needed one. Some people will not understand why you became silent. Some will call you proud. Some will say you changed. Some will act like you abandoned them, while ignoring how many times they abandoned your peace. Some will rewrite the story so they can sleep comfortably inside their own version of the truth. Let them. Do not waste your new energy defending your growth to people who only respected you when you were easy to access. You do not owe everyone an explanation for your peace. You do not owe everyone a final message. You do not owe everyone proof that you are healing. You do not owe everyone a front row seat to the person you are becoming. Some transformations must happen privately because privacy protects power. When you heal loudly, you invite opinions. When you heal quietly, you build roots. When you grow in silence, you become strong before the world even knows you changed. There is a reason the most powerful people often move quietly. Noise can attract attention, but silence builds depth. Noise can make people look at you, but silence makes you look within yourself. Noise can create temporary satisfaction, but silence creates permanent strength. When you detach slowly and win quietly, you are not trying to impress the world with your pain. You are trying to become free from the need to perform pain, explain pain, or turn pain into a show. Your comeback should not be built on bitterness. Bitterness may give you energy for a season, but it cannot give you peace for a lifetime. If your only motivation is to prove someone wrong, then your growth is still connected to them. If your only dream is to make them regret losing you, then your future is still being shaped by your wound. But when your motivation becomes self-love, discipline, dignity, healing, purpose, and peace, your growth becomes clean. It no longer tastes like revenge, it tastes like freedom. The person who wins quietly does not need to say, "Look at me now." Their life says it without begging to be heard. Their calm says it, their discipline says it, their boundaries say it, their glow says it, their silence says it, their ability to walk away without hatred says it, their ability to stay kind without becoming weak says it, their ability to love again without losing themselves says it. True victory is not when they suffer because they lost you. True victory is when you stop suffering because they lost you. You must build a life so full that their absence no longer feels like an empty room. At first, after detachment, everything may remind you of them. Certain songs, places, words, habits, times of day, messages, memories, and quiet moments may pull your heart backward. But slowly, you must fill your life with new meaning. New routines, new goals, new skills, new spaces, new memories, new conversations, new forms of peace. You cannot only remove someone from your life, you must rebuild the place they occupied with something healthier. Otherwise, loneliness will keep making the past look inviting. Build your mornings because mornings decide the emotional direction of your day. Do not wake up and immediately give your mind to the person you are trying to release. Do not begin the day by checking, wondering, remembering, or reopening. Begin with yourself. Begin with water, movement, prayer, meditation, reading, planning, silence, gratitude, or whatever returns you to your own center. The first minutes of your day must belong to your future, not your wound. Every morning you choose yourself. Before you choose the memory, you win quietly. Build your body because confidence often returns through action. When you move your body, you teach yourself that you are not stuck. When you take care of your health, you send a message to your soul that your life still matters. When you dress with care, stand with dignity, sleep properly, eat better, and give your body strength, you begin to feel less like someone who is abandoned and more like someone who is returning. Your body carried the anxiety, the waiting, the sadness, and the stress. Now let your body carry the rebuilding. Build your mind because the mind that was trained by attachment must be trained again by wisdom. Feed it with books, ideas, silence, discipline, and truth. Stop letting your mind survive on memories of people who made you feel small. Stop letting your thoughts circle the same pain every day and call it love. Your mind is a garden, and whatever you keep repeating becomes what grows there. If you repeat rejection, rejection grows. If you repeat self-respect, self-respect grows. If you repeat peace, peace grows. If you repeat discipline, discipline grows. Quiet winning begins when your inner conversation stops being about them and starts being about who you are becoming. Build your work because purpose is one of the strongest medicines for emotional weakness. A person without purpose becomes easy to trap in attachment because the heart needs something to hold. If you do not give your heart a future, it will keep holding the past. Work on your craft, improve your income, build your skills, start the project, finish the thing you delayed, take the course, practice the talent, make something, learn something, offer something. Your purpose does not need to be perfect, but it needs movement. Every step toward your own life makes the old attachment weaker. Build your standards because winning quietly is not only about becoming successful, it is about becoming wiser. If you grow financially, physically, or socially but still accept the same disrespect, then you have improved your image but not your soul. Real growth means your choices change, your tolerance changes, your boundaries change, your attraction changes. The same type of person who once pulled you into chasing should no longer feel like home. The same mixed signals that once excited you should now feel disturbing. The same emotional crumbs that once fed your hope should now remind you of how far you have come. Build your circle because the wrong people can keep the old version of you alive. Spend time with people who make peace feel normal. Spend time with people who do not require you to beg for attention. Spend time with people whose presence does not make your nervous system shake. Spend time with people who laugh honestly, speak clearly, respect boundaries, and make you feel more like yourself. You do not need a crowd, you need the right energy. One peaceful person is better than 10 confusing people. One honest connection is better than a room full of half-hearted attention. Winning quietly also means you learn to enjoy being misunderstood. This may sound strange, but it is necessary. If you always need people to understand your intentions, you will keep explaining yourself into exhaustion. Some people will misunderstand you because they do not have the depth to see your heart. Some will misunderstand you because understanding you would require them to admit they hurt you. Some will misunderstand you because your silence exposes their behavior. Some will misunderstand you because they need you to be the villain in order to protect their own image. Let them misunderstand. Your peace cannot depend on being correctly interpreted by people committed to seeing you through their own ego. Do not return to the past just because the past suddenly speaks gently. Sometimes when you begin winning quietly, the old door knocks. Someone who ignored you may appear. Someone who took you for granted may become curious. Someone who broke your peace may act soft again. Someone who watched you leave may suddenly want a conversation. This is a test of your growth. Do not only ask, "Do I still have feelings?" Ask, "Do I still have standards?" Feelings can remain even after wisdom has arrived. Missing someone does not mean they deserve access. Loving someone does not mean you must reopen the door. History does not automatically deserve a future. If they return, your calm must be stronger than your curiosity. Your boundary must be stronger than their words. Your memory of the pattern must be stronger than the sweetness of the moment. Do not punish them. Do not insult them. Do not perform strength. Simply observe. Have they changed, or have they only noticed your absence? Have they grown, or have they only become uncomfortable without your energy? Are they offering accountability, or are they offering nostalgia? Are they respecting your peace, or are they trying to enter it again without responsibility? Quiet winners do not rush back into what took them so long to survive. And if they never return, you still win. This is important. Your healing is not proven by their comeback. Your value is not proven by their regret. Your beauty is not proven by their attention. Your importance is not proven by whether they miss you. If they never speak again, you still win when you become peaceful. If they never apologize, you still win when you become free. If they never realize what they lost, you still win when you stop losing yourself. The goal was never to make them come back. The goal was to make yourself come back. There will be a quiet day in your future when you realize the wound is no longer the center of your life. You will remember them, but the memory will not pull you under. You will hear their name, but your chest will not collapse. You will see something that once triggered you, but you will remain steady. You will think about what happened, but instead of asking, "Why was I not enough?" you will say, "I am grateful I learned to choose myself." That day may not arrive suddenly, but it will arrive if you keep choosing peace. You must understand that quiet victory often looks boring from the outside. It does not always look like dramatic success, applause, money, beauty, or people begging to return. Sometimes quiet victory looks like sleeping peacefully after months of anxiety. Sometimes it looks like not checking their profile. Sometimes it looks like eating properly again. Sometimes it looks like laughing without guilt. Sometimes it looks like enjoying a walk alone. Sometimes it looks like deleting the message instead of sending it. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to respond. Sometimes it looks like finally feeling safe inside your own silence. These small victories are not small. They are signs that your soul is recovering. Do not compare your healing to people who seem to move on quickly. Some people replace instead of healing. Some people distract instead of growing. Some people look happy outside while still carrying the same wounds inside. Your quiet process may look slow, but slow healing can become deep healing. Detach slowly does not mean remain stuck. It means move with truth. It means let your heart release what it needs to release, without forcing a fake strength. It means keep walking even when you still feel something. It means stop rushing yourself to forget and start teaching yourself to be free. One of the most beautiful signs that you are winning quietly is when you no longer need to hate them. In the beginning, anger may protect you. Anger may help you stop romanticizing the pain. Anger may remind you that what happened was not okay, but do not build your whole healing on anger. Anger is a bridge, not a home. Eventually, you must cross beyond it. You must reach the place where you can say, "I do not hate them, but I do not need them." You can say, "I wish them healing, but I choose distance." You can say, "They were part of my lesson, but they are not the center of my future." That kind of peace is powerful because it cannot be easily disturbed. When you still hate someone, they still have a place in your emotional house. When you still need revenge, they still control your direction. When you still want to prove something, they still influence your decisions. But when you can release them without needing them to suffer, you become free in a deeper way. You are no longer fighting the past. You are no longer trying to defeat it. You are simply outgrowing it. Winning quietly also means learning to trust yourself again. When someone hurts you, especially after you ignored signs or stayed too long, you may begin to doubt your judgment. You may ask, "How did I not see it?" You may become afraid to love again. You may become suspicious of everyone. But the goal of healing is not to become closed. The goal is to become wiser. You can trust yourself again by listening earlier, observing patterns, honoring discomfort, asking better questions, and leaving sooner when peace is repeatedly disturbed. Your past did not make you foolish. It made you experienced. Use the lesson without becoming hard. Do not let one person's inability to value you make you suspicious of every heart. There are people who will not make you chase. There are people who will communicate clearly. There are people who will treat your softness with care. There are people who will not make you feel guilty for needing respect. There are people who will make love feel calm instead of confusing. But you will only recognize them when you stop being addicted to the kind of love that breaks you. Quiet winning prepares you for better because it removes your hunger for less. You are not rebuilding just so you can be chosen by someone else. You are rebuilding so you can choose from wholeness, not emptiness. When you are empty, attention feels like love. When you are lonely, inconsistency feels exciting. When you are desperate, potential feels enough. But when you are whole, you can see clearly. You can say no without fear. You can walk away without collapsing. You can love without begging. You can give without disappearing. This is the power you are rebuilding. Let your success be peaceful. Let it be internal before it becomes external. Let it be measured not only by what you achieve, but by what no longer controls you. You are successful when their silence no longer ruins your day. You are successful when you stop explaining your worth. You are successful when you no longer confuse anxiety with love. You are successful when you keep your standards even when you feel lonely. You are successful when you can miss someone and still not return. You are successful when your peace becomes more important than being wanted. There may come a time when the person who hurt you sees you again. Maybe they see your calm. Maybe they hear about your growth. Maybe they notice you are no longer the same. Maybe they feel the absence of your energy. Maybe they realize you were rare. Maybe they do not. But if that moment ever comes, your power will be in your peace, not in your reaction. You will not need to prove that you moved on. You will not need to act cold. You will not need to make them feel small. You will simply remain steady. That steadiness will say everything. The person who truly wins does not become cruel. They become clear. They do not become bitter. They become boundaried. They do not become loud. They become focused. They do not become desperate to be seen. They become satisfied with being whole. They do not chase the people who left. They attract what matches their new self-respect. And if nothing arrives for a while, they do not panic, because they have finally learned that being alone in peace is better than being attached in pain. Your quiet victory will change the way you walk through life. You will stop rushing to prove your heart. You will stop offering loyalty before trust is earned. You will stop giving emotional access to people who have not shown emotional responsibility. You will stop seeing silence as rejection and begin seeing it as information. You will stop asking, "Do they like me?" and begin asking, "Do I feel peaceful around them?" You will stop asking, "Will they choose me?" and begin asking, "Are they healthy for the life I am building?" This shift is powerful because it moves you from need to choice. When you need people, you tolerate too much. When you choose people, you observe with dignity. When you need love, you may accept confusion. When you choose love, you require peace. When you need attention, you chase. When you choose yourself, you attract or walk away. Quiet winning is the return of choice. It is the moment you stop being controlled by emotional hunger and begin living from self-respect. Do not be surprised if your old life starts falling away. Some conversations will no longer interest you. Some people will no longer feel safe. Some habits will no longer match your peace. Some places will feel too heavy. Some memories will lose their sweetness because you can finally see the cost behind them. This is not loss. This is alignment. When you change, your life must rearrange. Let it. Do not drag old energy into a new season just because it is familiar. Protect your new peace like something sacred, because it is. You fought for it in silence. You cried for it. You waited for it. You chose it when your heart wanted to return. You built it when nobody was clapping. You protected it when guilt tried to pull you backward. You earned it through small decisions that no one saw. Do not hand it back to anyone who only misses the version of you that had no boundaries. Do not trade your calm for a familiar voice. Do not trade your healing for temporary warmth. Do not trade your future for a past that already showed you its pattern. The final stage of detachment is gratitude. Not gratitude for the pain itself, but gratitude for who you became because you refused to let the pain define you. Gratitude that you survived what once felt impossible. Gratitude that you learned your worth. Gratitude that you discovered the difference between love and attachment. Gratitude that you now understand the power of boundaries. Gratitude that you are no longer begging for the bare minimum. Gratitude that you can still have a soft heart without offering it to careless hands. One day you will thank yourself for not sending that message. You will thank yourself for not returning when loneliness was loud. You will thank yourself for choosing discipline over impulse. You will thank yourself for letting silence protect you. You will thank yourself for walking away without making a scene. You will thank yourself for rebuilding when breaking would have been easier. You will thank yourself for becoming the person you needed when you were waiting for someone else to save you. And maybe that is the deepest victory of all, realizing that the person you were waiting for was you. You were waiting for someone to choose you, but you learned to choose yourself. You were waiting for someone to protect your heart, but you learned to protect it. You were waiting for someone to give you peace, but you learned to create it. You were waiting for someone to recognize your worth, but you learned to know it without permission. You were waiting for someone to come back, but you were the one who needed to come back to yourself. So win quietly, build without announcing, heal without performing, grow without begging to be seen, love yourself without apology, protect your peace without guilt. Let your life become bigger than the people who failed to value it. Let your energy become too peaceful for chaos, too disciplined for distraction, too whole for crumbs, and too wise for old patterns. Let your absence speak where your words were ignored. Let your growth answer where your pain was dismissed. Let your calm become the proof that you are no longer controlled by what once broke you. Detach slowly, because your heart deserves gentleness. Win quietly, because your peace does not need noise. Stop chasing, because what is meant for your soul will not require you to abandon yourself to keep it. Rebuild your power, because your life is still waiting for the strongest version of you to arrive. And when that version finally stands up, calm, clear, healed, disciplined, and free, you will understand that losing people was never the end of your story. It was the beginning of your return. If you have reached the end of this audiobook, remember this with your whole heart. You were never weak for loving deeply, you were never foolish for caring too much, and you were never wrong for wanting to be chosen with the same honesty you gave to others. Your heart was not the problem. Your loyalty was not the problem. Your softness was not the problem. The problem began when you gave your best energy to places that kept returning confusion, silence, disrespect, and emotional emptiness. But now, something inside you is waking up. You are no longer the same person who keeps chasing after half effort. You are no longer the same person who begs for replies, waits for apologies, over-explains pain, or measures worth by someone else's attention. You are learning that peace is not found in being wanted by everyone. Peace is found in not abandoning yourself for anyone. Detach slowly. Do not force your heart to become cold overnight. Heal with patience. Step back with dignity. Let go without hatred. Miss them if you must, but do not return to what broke you. Care if you must, but do not chase what keeps running away. Remember the good moments if they come, but also remember the pattern that made your soul tired. And win quietly. Win by sleeping peacefully again. Win by rebuilding your routine. Win by choosing your goals. Win by protecting your energy. Win by becoming unavailable to disrespect. Win by no longer needing them to understand your pain before you begin healing from it. Win by becoming so whole that their absence no longer feels like punishment. Let them wonder why you changed. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them feel the absence of the love they took for granted. You do not need revenge. You do not need drama. You do not need one final message to prove your worth. Your peace will speak. Your growth will speak. Your calm will speak. Your life will speak. From today, stop standing outside doors that only open when someone needs your warmth. Stop shrinking your needs to fit into someone else's comfort. Stop calling anxiety love. Stop calling attachment destiny. Stop calling self-abandonment loyalty. You deserve a life where your heart can rest, where your mind can breathe, and where your presence is valued without you begging for it. This is your return. Return to your peace. Return to your confidence. Return to your dreams. Return to your standards. Return to the version of yourself that existed before chasing made you forget your own power. You are not losing people. You are finding yourself. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming careful. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming whole. Detach slowly, win quietly, and let your peace become the proof that you finally chose yourself.